Have you ever wondered what separates a mere ruler from a truly great king? Is it birthright, destiny, or something more? Today, we journey back in time to uncover the story of a leader who wasn't born into greatness, but forged it through sheer will and unwavering dedication. This isn't just a tale of crowns and castles, it's a story of a boy from the humblest of beginnings who dared to dream of unifying a nation. Our story begins not in a grand palace, but in a small forgotten village, nestled between windswept hills and dense, untamed forests. Life here was simple, but it was also harsh. The soil was stubborn, the winters were long, and the shadow of powerful feuding lords loomed over everyone. In this world, a boy was born, not to a king and queen, but to a blacksmith and a seamstress. His hands, from a young age, were not accustomed to holding a scepter, but to stoking the forge and mending worn clothes. His childhood was a classroom of resilience. He learned the weight of a hammer before he learned the weight of a crown. He saw the calluses on his father's hands and the fatigue in his mother's eyes. He felt the hunger in his community, not as a distant problem, but as a gnawing ache in his own stomach. His family, though poor in coin, was rich in spirit. His father taught him that the strongest steel is forged in the hottest fire, a lesson he applied not just to metal, but to his own character. His mother taught him that even the smallest threads, when woven together with care, can create something strong and beautiful, a lesson he would later apply to uniting a fractured kingdom. These early years were his crucible. While other boys of noble birth were learning the arts of courtly etiquette and political maneuvering, he was learning the art of survival. He learned to track in the woods, to read the seasons, to understand the language of the common folk. He saw firsthand the injustices they faced, the crushing taxes, the conscription for pointless wars, the arrogance of distant rulers who knew nothing of their struggles. A fire was lit within him, not of ambition for power, but of a desperate desire for justice and a better world for his people. As a young man, he didn't command armies. He inspired loyalty. His first followers weren't knights in shining armor, but farmers, merchants, and fellow blacksmiths. They saw in him not a master, but a brother. They saw his integrity, his tireless work ethic, and a vision that extended beyond the next harvest. He didn't just talk about change, he embodied it. He was the first to pick up a shovel, to dig an irrigation ditch, and the last to lay down his tools at the end of the day. His journey was anything but easy. For every step forward, it felt like he was pushed 2 steps back. He faced ridicule from the established nobility who saw him as an upstart, a commoner playing at being a leader. He faced betrayal from those who feared his growing influence. He led his small band of followers through desperate winters and against overwhelming odds. There were moments of profound doubt, nights spent staring into the campfire, wondering if his dream was just a fool's errand. The emotional toll was immense. He carried the weight of every life lost, every family that sacrificed for his cause. But what defined him was his consistency. He never wavered. When his forces were hungry, he starved with them. When they were defeated, he was the one who rallied their spirits, reminding them of what they were fighting for. Not for him, but for their children, for a future free from tyranny and fear. He trained relentlessly, honing his skills not just as a warrior, but as a strategist. He studied the histories of past empires, learning from their triumphs and their mistakes. He understood that building a kingdom required more than just winning battles. It required winning hearts and minds. The turning point came during the great siege of the Crimson Peaks. His small, outnumbered army was cornered, trapped against a mountain range by the combined forces of 2 powerful warlords. All seemed lost. His advisors urged him to surrender, but he saw an opportunity where others saw only defeat. Using his intimate knowledge of the land, knowledge gained during his youth, he led a small contingent through treacherous, forgotten goat paths, appearing behind the enemy lines at dawn. The surprise was total, the ensuing victory legendary. That battle changed everything. It wasn't just a military victory, it was a symbol of hope. News of the blacksmith's son, who outsmarted the greatest generals of the age, spread like wildfire. People began to believe. Soldiers from opposing armies, tired of fighting for selfish lords, began to flock to his banner. He was no longer just a rebel leader, he was the people's champion. Victory by victory, he didn't just conquer, he unified. In every town he liberated, he established fair laws, abolished oppressive taxes, and listened to the concerns of the local people. He remembered the faces of the villagers from his youth. He remembered their struggles. He built his kingdom not on a foundation of fear, but on a foundation of trust and mutual respect. He proved that true strength wasn't about the power you wield over people, but the power you give to them. Finally, the day came when the last of the old lords bent the knee. The blacksmith's son, the boy from the forgotten village, was crowned king. As the crown was placed upon his head, it was not a symbol of divine right, but a symbol of a promise fulfilled. A promise made to his parents, to his community, and to himself. He had risen from the very bottom to the absolute top. His reign became a golden age. He built schools, not just for the rich, but for everyone. He invested in infrastructure, creating roads and aqueducts that served the common good. He fostered a culture where merit, not birth, determined a person's worth. He remained the same person he always was, humble, hardworking, and deeply connected to his people. He never forgot the feel of the hammer in his hand or the lessons learned in the heat of the forge. He became the champion he was always meant to be. His story teaches us that greatness is not an inheritance. It is a choice. It's the choice to work hard when no one is watching, to persevere in the face of overwhelming adversity, and to lead with empathy and integrity. It is a powerful reminder that our origins do not define our destiny. The potential for greatness lies within each of us, waiting to be forged in the fires of our own challenges. Thank you so much for watching. If this story inspired you, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more tales of incredible figures from history. Let us know in the comments what part of his journey resonated with you the most. We'll see you in the next video. Have you ever felt like the world was against you? Like you were born into a situation with no way out, destined for a life of struggle? If you've ever felt that way, then you need to hear this story. It's a story about a boy who came from nothing, who faced unimaginable hardship and rose to become a king. This isn't just a fairy tale, it's a testament to the power of the human spirit. Imagine a small, forgotten corner of the world, a place where hope is a luxury few can afford. This is where our story begins. In a humble home, a boy was born. His family wasn't wealthy, they weren't influential, they were just ordinary people trying to survive. From his earliest days, life was a constant battle. While other children played, he learned the harsh lessons of scarcity. His playground was not a park filled with swings and slides, but the rugged landscape of reality where every meal was earned and every small comfort was a victory. His childhood was not filled with carefree laughter, but with the heavy weight of responsibility. He saw the worry etched on his parents' faces, felt the unspoken anxieties that filled their small home. He didn't have the latest toys or the fanciest clothes. What he had was a fire burning within him, a quiet, fierce determination. He saw the world not for what it was, but for what it could be, and he promised himself, silently, that he would change his destiny. He knew, even then, that complaining wouldn't change a thing. Only action could. So, he began to work. While others slept, he was awake, studying, practicing, honing his skills. While others socialized, he was in solitude, pushing his limits, day after day, week after week. It wasn't glamorous. There were no shortcuts, no magic wands. It was grueling, monotonous, relentless hard work. There were moments of doubt, moments when the exhaustion was so profound he thought he couldn't take another step. He failed, time and time again. He was knocked down, ridiculed, and told he was dreaming too big. But every time he fell, he got back up. Each failure wasn't an end, it was a lesson. Each setback wasn't a wall, it was a stepping stone. He used the criticism as fuel, the doubt as motivation. His consistency was his superpower. He understood a fundamental truth that many of us forget. Greatness isn't born from a single act of heroism, but from the million small, disciplined efforts that no one ever sees. It's the sweat, the sacrifice, the refusal to quit when every fiber of your being is screaming at you to stop. His family was his anchor in this storm. They may not have had material wealth to offer, but they gave him something far more valuable: unwavering belief. They saw the fire in his eyes when others saw only his humble origins. They celebrated his small victories and comforted him in his defeats. Their love was the foundation upon which he built his dreams. It was a constant reminder of what he was fighting for, not just for himself, but for them, to give them a life free from the worries that had shadowed his own childhood. This emotional core, this deep-seated love for his family, was the compass that guided him through his darkest hours. Years passed. The boy grew into a man, forged in the crucible of hardship. The world began to take notice. The quiet, determined worker from the forgotten corner of the world was now a force to be reckoned with. His skills, sharpened by countless hours of practice, were undeniable. His resilience, built from a lifetime of overcoming obstacles, was unbreakable. He entered arenas where he was the underdog, the outsider, the one no one believed in. And one by one, he proved them all wrong. He faced giants, challengers who were bigger, stronger, and more privileged. But he had something they didn't, a hunger born from having nothing. He had the heart of a lion and the spirit of a warrior. He fought with a passion and intelligence that left his opponents stunned. The crowds, who had once dismissed him, now chanted his name. He wasn't just winning, he was inspiring a generation. He showed everyone that it doesn't matter where you come from, it matters what you're made of. And then the day came, the culmination of a lifetime of struggle and sacrifice. He stood on the grandest stage of them all, the final battle for the ultimate prize. Across from him stood the champion, the embodiment of everything he had fought against. The world watched, holding its breath. The fight was brutal, a clash of wills as much as a clash of skill. He was pushed to his absolute limit, battered and bruised. But in the final moments, when it seemed all was lost, he dug deep and found one last reserve of strength. A strength born from the memory of his childhood, the love for his family, and the unwavering belief in his own destiny. And he did it. He won. The boy from the bottom, the kid with nothing, was now the champion, the king. He stood victorious, not with arrogance, but with a profound sense of gratitude and humility. He had climbed the mountain. He had reached the top. His triumph was not just a personal victory, it was a beacon of hope for every person who has ever felt forgotten, overlooked, or counted out. It was proof that with relentless hard work and an unbreakable spirit, anything is possible. This story teaches us that our beginnings do not define our endings. The circumstances of your birth are just the starting point of your journey. The real story is written by the choices you make every single day. It's written in the sweat of your brow, the resolve in your heart, and your refusal to let the world tell you who you are. You are the author of your own life. You have the power to rise from the bottom and reach the top. You have the power to become the king or queen of your own destiny. So, what is your mountain? What is the dream that burns inside you? Don't let anyone, including yourself, tell you it's impossible. Remember this story. Remember the boy who became a king. Let his journey fuel your own. Start today. Take that first step, no matter how small. Be consistent, be resilient, and never ever give up. Your crown is waiting. Thank you so much for joining us here at YT Life Support Lab. If this story moved you or inspired you, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more content that empowers you to build a better life. We love hearing from you, so please share your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, keep fighting for your dreams.